Good morning. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Kate and I am a trauma-informed clinical hypnotherapist, practitioner and domestic abuse and addictions coach. And I help women to break free from the overwhelming effects of anxiety that draws them to these insecurities. That is sabotaging so many areas of their life and, not allowing them to live their life to the fullest. So today is my very, very first live workshop for you all. I am a little bit late, only because I tried to go on live. I don't know what on earth's going on with Facebook, but I tried to go on live on the laptop and I don't even know what on earth was going on, but it wouldn't let me do it. No idea. But anyway, so I've come on my phone. I just wanted really, because I'm using some visuals, I just wanted them to be a little bit bigger for you, a little bit clearer, but never mind. Never mind, we will have to make do with what we have. Today I'm going to talk to you about, now this was originally a workshop I was going to do privately, but then I decided to do part of it publicly. Now, the rest of the workshop I'm going to be will include guided meditation that's integrating a little bit of psychosensory modality to really solidify the process into the area in the brain that we need to communicate with. So that if you want the access to the downloads, which I'm going to be using here in this training here on this public training, you can access I will put the link in the comments after I come off. I'll give you a little bit of time to, in fact, if you scroll through my posts, you will see in fact, no, I'll post it in the comments for you, and then you can join the group. So even if you watch the replay, you'll be able to get access to the replay inside my private group, okay? And you'll be able to access the downloads I've been using. So, I don't know who's on, say hi whoever's on. So, we're going to get to know your nervous system, okay? So, and this is going to really, really help with your kids, any of your loved ones. It's a really, really, really useful tool. So what I'm going to show you here, this is the adult version. Okay, now this is what's referred to as a polyvagal theory. Okay, now I've obviously done my own visuals, so they are easier for you to read and for your children to read as well. So I'll just show you the children's versions that I did. So yeah, these are the children's versions. And there's that one as well. Okay. So what we do with these is, okay, so when you are down at the bottom of the ladder, you can see you're very, very depressed. And this is when you're in freeze mode. When you're in the middle of the ladder, you're very much in fight or flight. So you're very, very angry, very judgmental, very critical of people, very argumentative, very defensive. This is when you're here, okay? Now, when we're here, we're very, very calm, we're very regulated. You found it on my timeline, Alex. Brilliant. Yeah. Do you know, on the event, I don't like the event. I'm not going to use the event links anymore because they're not clear for the links at all. I don't like it, so I'm not going to use it anymore. Yeah. So that's the different stages of our internal regulatory system, our nervous system. Okay, and it's referred to as the polyvagal theory. Now, if we are down here and you're feeling, when you're down here, you may find that you're lacking motivation, you are struggling. It's a real effort to get up out of bed in the morning. It's a real effort to just get a shower and put your makeup on, get dressed. Everything is an effort. So if you're down here, to go from there right up to here is a massive, big leap. So for example, if you are struggling to get up out of bed, it might be a real struggle for you to go out on a long walk. Okay, so that might be just a step too far for you. So it's about understanding where you are in your nervous system and what small steps that you can take to move you slowly up the ladder. Because like I just said to you there, you can't go from here right the way up to here. Unfortunately, to get to here, you've got to get to here. So you may find that you may go from depressed, feeling lacking motivation, not wanting to interact with anybody, and then suddenly you feel really angry. And so you may feel like, well, nothing's working, I'm going backwards. It's not the case. You may not feel like you're moving forward, but you are actually moving forward, believe it or not. Because when you're getting angry, you're getting closer to safety. Your system's feeling safer to express how it feels. So you are actually closer to safety, even though it doesn't feel like you are making progress. And you will feel that pang of anxiety running through your body, and you will feel the flood of cortisol and your heartbeat racing faster. But that is because you are in fight or flight. You are preparing to run away from danger. You have a sudden burst of energy. So you are actually closer. Okay, so the steps that you take from here will move you to here, to safety. Okay. So for example, if you're here, you may want to maybe go and get a shower, splash your face with some cold water, which will give you that hit of dopamine that your body's craving. And it'll just give you that little lift. Getting up and getting dressed, just getting up and maybe making yourself some healthy breakfast. That is just a little step in the right direction to move you closer up to safety. Then once you start to notice that low mood starting to lift and you're starting to get a little bit more, you're starting to experience that rage and anxiety, that's when you can move towards maybe the meditations, going for a long walk, listening to some bilateral music, listening to some, relaxation music, even listening to some upbeat music, some motivational music, that's positive and uplifting. And, you have a chosen playlist that you play when you're feeling, you need to feel loved, have a playlist for that. If you're needing to feel motivated, have a playlist for that. Have a playlist for whatever your mood is at that time, and go for your walk, and then that will move you closer up this ladder to feeling calm. Now, this isn't going to happen overnight. This takes daily consistency to start to see and feel the changes and the improvements. But honestly, if you stick it out, you will move further, closer up to safety. Now, obviously, the same applies for your kids. Now, what you can do is you can sit down with your children and you can ask them. Let me just get the children's one. So you can ask them. Now, this one, the kids usually prefer this one, actually. So ask them, what do you feel when you're down here? And then ask them, well, what sort of things happen? What sort of situations happen to make you feel like this? And they'll tell you. Here, ask them how they feel. I mean, it's pretty obvious how they feel, but ask them how they feel. And again, ask them what sort of things, what sort of situations make you feel like that. I mean, I know when I asked my daughter, she said, this one is when people hurt her feelings. this one is when it is always linked to a daddy. Always linked to a daddy. And this one, I feel happy, mummy. So what makes you feel, so when do you feel happy? What sort of things make you feel happy? Well, being with you, being at home with you, mummy. That's what makes her feel happy. She makes her feel safe. I'm her safety, which explains why she lashes out to me. Because when she's feeling here and she's with me, her system is closer to safety to be able to express how she's feeling internally. And of course, that's coming out onto me, unfortunately, because I am her safety. I'm her safety net. She knows she's safe to express whatever she wants with me, and I'm not going to go anywhere. Whereas with her dad, she was usually down here. Very much, I've got to keep daddy happy. And she has actually expressed those terms. We've got to keep daddy happy, mummy. Obviously, long before we went no contact, of course. But so it gives you an idea. Just really speak to them. So because then that will allow you to understand. Okay, so let's say they're retreating within themselves and they're locking themselves away in their room, or they're just sitting in a corner, not talking, and just playing with the toys and not really interacting. Ask them what's wrong. Get this out with them and ask them to show you where are you on the ladder, because they may not be able to articulate how they feel, but if you get this out and you say, okay, can you show me where you are on the ladder? And they'll show you. And if you've already had that conversation with them, you will understand what they need from you to be able to move them back up to safety, a bit further up to safety. What do they need? And they usually just need some TLC. They need to feel safe. They need to feel loved. They need to feel secure. And they need that from their caregivers. So from us, that's where they need to get it from. So when they tell you, obviously, where they are on the ladder, just ask them, well, so what's happened today that's made you feel like this? Really, just get them to really talk about it, because the worst thing they can do is keep it all blocked up inside. I mean, we had a little episode yesterday with Sophia, all kicked off royally. And then once it all calmed down, we sat down and we talked about it, and she explained why she felt the way she did. So it is really, really a useful tool to use with them. In fact, she quite often she'll go and get the ladder and she'll say, "Mummy, do you know where I am?" So if you can get them into the habit of coming to you and talking to you, even if it's say, "I'm here." They may not want to particularly talk about it in great detail, but if you've already had that communication with them and they say, "I'm here," you then know what you need to do to make them move further up to safety, because you've already had that conversation with them. Hiya, Jan. So there's those two visuals for kids. I mean, I know a lot of kids said that that's probably one that you'd use, that schools would use, and that's one that's obviously with the emojis, they're a bit more responsive to the emojis one. But it says very clearly on here, I've got put on here for you. So this is where they're online. So they're very rational thinking. You're in the rational thinking part of your brain. Here is where you're offline. You're very much in the emotional part of your brain, very, very much. And here you need some much needed TLC. So and I've done exactly the same with the adults version as well. So that's really, really useful to understand where you are on your system, because there's no point, if you don't understand this, your own nervous system, and you're feeling really low and you're trying to do too much and wondering why you can't find the motivation to go out for a walk, or go out to the gym, or go out for a run, or go out shopping. Those things are just way too much for you where you are in your system, yeah? So knowing where you are in your system and understanding that actually you can't go from here to here. in one big leap. You can't. You've got to understand, really sit down and understand, okay, so what do I feel here? Write it down, journal it out. What do you feel when you're at the bottom of the ladder? Okay, so what small steps could I take that's easy for me to do, that's going to move me a little bit closer to safety? And that, obviously, that's personal to you. That's only something you can answer yourself. You know, it could be just having a shower. It could be just putting on a little bit of makeup. It could be, you know, just, I don't know, running a bath. You know, having a healthy breakfast. Putting on a meditation and just laying there. And just listening. That's, again, just something you can do just to move you slightly up that ladder. And then, okay, so I'm feeling really, really angry today. The anxiety's flowing. I'm like a cat on a hot tin roof. Feels like something bad's going to happen today. Okay, I don't like this feeling. I really, really don't like this feeling. I'm really snappy. I'm really moody. How can I calm myself down? And that's where, you know, going out for your walk, because you've got that energy flow, the cortisol's flowing, the adrenaline's pumping. It's easy when you're here to go out for your long walk. Go out for your long walk. Stick on some bilateral music. It's something you can download from iTunes. It's something I use a lot. Is bilateral music, and what that does is it activates the left and the right left and the right hemispheres of the brain. Okay, so the left hemisphere of the brain is our rational thinking brain, and the right hemisphere of the brain is our creative part of the brain. Okay, so that's really good for, you know, activating your imagination, because if you really struggle with your visualization process, and imagining, you know, positive outcomes that are nowhere near coming into fruition, and visualizing a future that's way ahead, you really, that's something, I mean, even meditations, guided meditations, people like that really struggle with. But so when you activate the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, which is actually part of what I integrate into my my trauma method, I integrate the bilateral movement, several forms of bilateral movement, because I really want to activate the left and the right part of the brain. The right part of the brain, so I can get the imagination going, imagination flowing, that visualization really on point. And I want the left part of the brain because I want them online. I want them rational thinking. I don't want them in the emotional part of the brain. We're not productive back there. We want to be right back up here. And the bilateral movement is really useful for that. So obviously walking is a bilateral movement. So that's why, you know, we all know that's why our system generally knows what we need. So when we say, right, I need to go for a walk, I'm really angry, I need to go for a walk, our system knows what we need. Go for a walk. It's that bilateral movement to activate and get us back online. But, you know, to really have a big enough impact on the fear centre, just walking alone isn't enough. And that's why I say to, you know, integrate the bilateral music is a good one to integrate. I mean, obviously I integrate some other tools as well whilst I'm working, which I obviously talk about in my program, and I teach people in my program. But, you know, that is just one easy thing you can do. If you're in your fight-flight response, you're in the middle of the ladder, and the cortisol's flowing, adrenaline's pumping, and you really want to calm yourself down and move yourself a bit further up that ladder to safety, that's a really good time to go for a walk. Go for a walk, get the bilateral movements going, listen to some uplifting music. Even if you don't want to listen to bilateral music, listen to some uplifting music. Become aware of your senses. Become aware of your senses. The last thing you want to be doing is focusing on whatever negative things are going on in your life. Focus on, okay, so what can I say visually? What can I hear? And that's why if you've got music on, you're focused on, you're zoning out any other negative influences in terms of the sound, because all you've got going into your sound senses is positivity. So be really careful about the words that are used in songs that you're listening to. I really like using bilateral music and theta music, because then it slows the brain frequency down, which also promotes you getting back online and thinking more clearly. What else can I tell you? So look at your sights and what can I see, and just notice, okay, I can see the trees and the leaves are really green, and the wind's blowing the leaves slightly, so there's a little, I can feel a little bit of a breeze in the air. Maybe if you wear, obviously it's not PPing it down, that's something I often do, is I'll wear flip-flops and I'll walk through the grass as I'm walking. So I'll notice, okay, I can feel the grass on my toes. Smell, you can smell the fresh air, you can smell it. When I go for a walk, I walk, there's an area, you probably know someone on some of my lives, where there's a part where there's flowing waters, like a cascading water in the stream, and it's very loud. So even when I've got my bilateral music on, I can still hear the water. So, and water isn't actually a symbol. Flowing water is a symbol of the unconscious mind. So again, that's really good to integrate. If you can go somewhere where there's flowing water, that's ideal. Just really, really activate those senses into the positive. Because what the mind can't do is, the mind cannot think of positive and negative all at the same time. So if you're only focused on the positives or on neutral things, it's not thinking about the negative and activating and alerting your fear center of danger, and the alarm bells are going off. So that is naturally going to move you back up to safety. It's naturally going to move you back up to here, okay? So with your children, what you can do is, so that's obviously something you can even do that with your kids. So if they are down here and they're feeling really low and really sad, they may just want cuddles. That's what they may just need. They may just need cuddles. I know Sophia was very much dipping between here and here actually last night. So we had cuddles, and she was, when I was talking to her, she said she was angry, and I know what she's angry about. She's angry about obviously the situation with her dad, and obviously she knows, the situation. I'm having to work so much because of that situation, and that's what she doesn't like. That's what she's angry about, because she hasn't got her mummy all the time, and she knows that is her daddy's fault. Because of the pressure that I'm under to get things done. So yes, we had cuddles, and then we went out to the park. And she played, she interacted with other kids. So she's alerting all her senses to positivity. Everything is positivity. So it moved us straight back up to here. So really understanding where your kids are in their nervous system, and understanding, well, what can I give them to make their systems feel safer and move them slowly up that ladder. I say, initially it may just be cuddles. You holding them tight, letting them know that you love them and you're there for them. You're not going anywhere. Feed them with positivity of how amazing they are, and You know, these are all things that will just really boost them internally, improve their self-worth, make them feel enough, make them feel loved. And that's basically what they're craving. They are craving it. They're crying out for it. Give them that. They may get angry, but then that's when you can get them out. Get them out, okay? Or even take them on a nature walk. I mean, these are all things that you can do even when they're here, to keep them up here, Because what we don't want to do is alert their senses to anything negative. And that's part of the reason why my daughter doesn't like being in the house a lot. She likes to be out all the time, because obviously things that her dad's exposed her to have been in this house. A lot of the things in this house alert her amygdala, her fear sensor, to alarm bells going off. So that's why she feels safer being out the house a lot. So we are out a lot. We are. You know, we've been take them out for a nature walk, and, you know, make a game of it. Okay, so what 5 things can you see? And take turns. Okay, so what 5 things can you hear? What can you smell? Let's go and pick up 5 things that are within nature. That's activating all their senses, so they're not focusing on anything negative, nothing at all. So these are all little things that you can do with yourself and with them, just to manage their nervous system. So I hope you found that useful. Now, if you want these downloads, you can get these. I will post the link because I've put them up on my ManyChat link on my messenger bot. So you can download them on there. You'll also get a link to the Facebook group where I'm going to be doing this guided meditation process. Again, it's very much integrating, making that wounded little child inside feel safe. So that's what this guided meditation process is going to take you through, to give your system what it needs. Okay. And again, this is very, very unique to each individual. So there's going to be a bit of a guided process where you're going to have to, I mean, obviously that's something you can decide what type of person makes you feel safe, what type of person is more of a motherly figure. So I'm going to go through that over in the group in about 10 minutes. I will give it 10 minutes because I'll post this link to see if anybody wants to join me over there. Some of you may be already registered already in the group, in which case just hop over and I'll see you over there in 10 minutes. So I really hope you enjoyed this first workshop. I'm going to be doing another one next week as well. So my plan is hopefully to do these on a weekly basis until my book launch in January. Which my book launch is the Domestic Abuse Breakthrough Formula, which basically takes you through from beginning to end of the breaking away process, all the healing tools, all the healing coaching tools. You have access to a resource area as well included in the book. It's a really, really intensive, knowledgeable book. So on that note, I will see you all over in the group, whoever wants to come and join me on this meditation. But for now, I shall see you on my next live.